Hangman Adam Page just suffered what looked like a serious injury, and there's already people thinking it's a work, like this person who thinks it was too convenient to happen near the ending of the show. Look, there's no need for any takes like this right now. I think that the injury seems legit, and now is not the time for that. I'm hoping and praying for an update with good news. It's only been a week since Bray Wyatt came back to WWE, but he's already getting hate from a take that's not so great. The next hot take of the video questions Bray Wyatt's in-ring ability, asking wrestling fans to name one good singles match in his career. And to make things even spicier, it can't be any of his bouts with Daniel Bryan because he could allegedly have a good match with your mom. Well, that's still easy. Wyatt versus Cena at Payback. Wyatt versus Cena at WrestleMania 30. Wyatt versus Roman Reigns at Hell in a Cell. Wyatt versus Cena at WrestleMania 37, Wyatt versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam, and Wyatt versus Rollins at Hell in a Cell. Look, I've seen this hot take around the block for some time now, but the idea that Bray Wyatt hasn't had any good singles matches is ridiculous. Wrestling is subjective. Just because you don't like his style doesn't make him a bad wrestler. It's also pretty odd to throw this out when everyone is excited for his return. Let people just be happy and have some fun, please. Wrestling fans never cease to amaze me. Don't worry, there's more Bray Wyatt hot takes, and this one claims that his return at Extreme Rules was better than CM Punk's return at AEW last year, and I honestly didn't think this was a legit take until I saw thousands of likes on it. This is an interesting take, but it is not true, at least. Number 1, CM Punk returned to the business after a 7-year absence compared to Bray Wyatt's 15 months. Number 2, Punk's return had a greater impact since he felt like a true game changer for AEW, which he was because he took them to new heights. And these returns aren't comparable. I think some fans are just experiencing recency bias. Bray Wyatt's return was really great, but Punk's was better. Thankfully, we've got one hot take about Bray Wyatt that I can agree with. After a segment on SmackDown, this take finally realized Bray Wyatt isn't the next Undertaker, but instead, he's the first Bray. And I have to totally agree with this as someone who's always said that he has the potential to be the next Taker. Bray Wyatt is Wyndham's unique creation that is completely original, and the character deserves all the love in the world.
This Carter keeps getting powerbomb, dog.
That video that you just saw was a clip that went viral on social media over the weekend for the reckless and careless moves done by some indie wrestler that's probably never going to make it in the business because of this clip alone. Unfortunately, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and this wrestling fan had one of the worst takes I've ever seen in regards to this video. He said that this wasn't dangerous and it was actually just good selling, even claiming that the guy is fine. You've got to be either blind or really stupid to say something like that. You know it's bad when someone like Sabu of all people say that this is brain damage and seems concerned about it. That is coming from a man who literally pulled off some of the most dangerous moves in pro wrestling history, and I think I'm going to take his word over a random wrestling fan on Twitter. Chris Jericho just signed a contract extension with AEW today that'll keep him locked in with the company for the next 3 years. It's safe to say that most people are happy about this decision. However, the same can't be said about this person with this hot take claiming that Chris Jericho's impact on AEW has been as negative as Hulk Hogan in WCW. This is just a bad hot take. Hulk Hogan was a selfish individual who did not care about the future of WCW, and Chris Jericho is kind of the opposite. In fact, he's a main contributing factor to AEW's success, and without him, I'm not sure if the company would even be in business today. If you don't agree with me, just take a listen to the legend himself.
If there was no Chris Jericho, I don't know if the company would have gotten off the ground as quickly as they did. Yeah. And because, I say that because I think at the time I was the only national kind of superstar name that was involved. But keep in mind, no one really knew Cody at that point. He'd been gone for years, and the last time we seen him, he was Stardust. I'm going to pull back so I can see you guys' faces. He was Stardust when he left. So there really wasn't anybody else, and I think if Chris Jericho wasn't involved, it would have been a lot harder of a sell to TBS or TNT or those types of people that were involved, because you needed that big TV to get off the ground.
With everything he said in the video, I've gotta agree with him. It's actually funny because he also threw in a hot take of his own in that clip saying that Cody Rhodes wasn't really well known, and a lot of wrestling fans got mad about this on social media a couple weeks ago, but he's kind of right. Cody Rhodes was known to some wrestling fans from his old WWE days and some indie fans, but it didn't compare to the star power that Chris Jericho had at that time. I'm glad someone finally said it. The New Day has gotta split up. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are too talented to be stuck in this act that should have ended a long time ago. It's time that they go their separate ways. As much as they've been against someone turning on the group, I think it would lead to a fun storyline, and I'd love to see it lead to a New Day triple threat match at WrestleMania 39. Bray Wyatt isn't the only one getting hate for apparently not being able to wrestle in the ring. When asking the question to name a successful wrestler who's never had a good match, John Cena's name popped up. And all I've got to ask is, what in the world are you smoking to be saying something so preposterous? They've got to be joking, right? I don't even need to name a list of great John Cena matches. We already know about them. Ariel Helwani decided to turn heel on AEW fans this week and spit some facts that might hurt some feelings when talking about the product and how it compares to WWE.
If you are saying right now with a straight face that the AEW product is better than the WWE product, you're just a liar. You're just an absolute liar. There's no if, ands, or buts. The WWE product is infinitely better, infinitely more interesting, and there's a freaking brawl happening backstage each and every week, it seems. Like, if you're going to be a super fan, be a super fan, but also tell it like it is. 6 months ago wasn't the case. A year ago when Punk came back wasn't the case. When Bryan signed, when Moxie came, all that stuff wasn't the case. But right this second, if you're going to sit here and say that it's a better product, you're an absolute liar.
Ariel isn't the only one that's not a fan of All Elite Wrestling. Road Dogg would agree with Helwani's take on the AEW product.
You know, it's commonplace for me to say this company's the best and the other company's not, but their television show is not fluid. It's not that things don't connect to I don't know. I just can't follow their television show.
If you ask me, I'm gonna agree with both of them. AEW has its ups and downs, and I think right now they are at a down. I will say that this Hangman promo from last week was good stuff.
I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I can't sleep at night. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. The medicine is not working, but I am still here because I am a man.
That led to the hot take stating that Adam Page is the most relatable man in pro wrestling today. I think that is a good hot take, and I would agree with it. Hangman really understands how to relate because his on-screen character is an authentic version of himself. Others wouldn't agree, as this reply sarcastically takes a shot at his character and an entire generation. They then go on to make a joke about the next gimmick being a diva struggling to afford anything during hard times. And I think he failed to realize that this already happened 40 years ago.
Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work and got 4 or 5 kids and can't buy their food.
I'd personally say that this gimmick was pretty successful. Wrestling fans love to throw around the word megastar. This hot take says that that doesn't apply to Jon Moxley, and of course it doesn't. It only applies to John Cena, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. No one else is a megastar from the wrestling business. Ever since Triple H took over as head of creative, he was given the nickname Papa H, and this hot take calls it cringy, telling everyone to stop, and well, they're not wrong.